Welcome everybody. This module is about accidentals and it relates to the Grade 1 ABRSM theory exam. The accidentals we need to study for this grade are the sharp, the flat and the natural sign. So these are the three accidentals we'll be looking at today. Let's start just by giving an example. We've got three notes on the treble clef stave. These are all at pitch the A note, and if we were to place a sharp in front of one of those, so I've placed a sharp in front of the middle note, we've actually raised that note by a semitone. So let's explain that using the keyboard. The initial note was pitched at A, we've placed a sharp in front of it, so we're now going to pitch that note at A sharp, so we would play A sharp with that note. So therefore the sharp in front of a note raises the note by a semitone. Let's look at another example. We've got the same three notes, but on the middle note I'm placing a accidental called the flat sign. Now the original note was A. By placing a flat sign in front of a note, we lower the note by a semitone, so we would now play that note as A flat. So the flat sign lowers a note by a semitone. I'm going to take another example here. The first note is pitched at A sharp, and on the second note I'm going to place a natural sign. Now this time the natural sign is going to take away that sharp, if you like, or lower the previous note by a semitone. So the original note was A sharp, but by placing a natural sign in front of the next note, we've actually put it back to A natural. We've made it back to the natural note. So in this case the natural sign has lowered the note by a semitone. Let's take another example. On our first note we've placed a flat, so the pitch of the first note would be A flat, and then we're going to put a natural sign in front of the second note, but this time the natural sign is going to change it in a different way. It was A flat, but the natural sign is now putting it back to the original pitch, which was A natural. So a natural sign placed in front of a note and the previous note was flat would actually raise the note a semitone, putting it back to A natural. So you can see the natural sign can either raise a note a semitone or lower a note a semitone, depending on what is the situation previously on the previous note. Let's look at another example. We've got all these notes are pitched at the pitch of A on the treble clef stave. We start with a A sharp, so we've raised that A to A sharp. So the original note was A, but by placing a sharp in front of that note we've raised it to A sharp. If I then put a natural sign in front of the next note, the first note was A sharp, but now it's gone back to A natural. And then on the third note, if I include a flat, we've gone from original note A sharp, the second note A natural, the third note lowered a semitone goes to A flat. So there's a situation where we have three accidentals changing the pitch of the notes. If we look at the second bar, I'm going to place a sharp in front of the first note. Now that sharp will affect the other two notes. We do not need to put two sharps, additional two sharps in front of those notes if we want to play them A sharp. So a accidental, in this case the sharp, will affect all the notes in the same bar. And similarly, if we placed a flat in front of that note, these other two notes will also be played A flat. Just going to mention a point about the positioning of accidentals. Obviously they have to be in front of the note, directly in front of the note, and if the note is placed in a space, as we have here, the accidental has to be placed directly in that space. It has to be neatly placed in the space. Similarly, the same situation with a flat. If a note is placed in a space, the flat has to be positioned, or this part of the flat has to be positioned directly in the space, and the same goes for the natural sign. If the note is on a line, as in this case, the sharp has to be placed directly on the line, always in front of the note, directly in front of the note, and the same goes for the flat sign, and the same goes for the natural sign. So we've just dealt with the positioning and what the actual sharps, flats and naturals do to a note if placed in front of it. So what you should do really is get some manuscript paper and practice writing our sharp sign, if it's placed in a space like so, or the sharp sign on a line. The flat sign, if it's placed in a space, it should be placed like that, or on a line it should be placed directly on the line. And the natural sign placed in a space should be placed like so. And again, if the natural sign is placed on a line, it should be directly on the line. So we've just dealt with the sharps, the flats and the naturals, and these are all called accidentals. So that brings me to the end of this module on accidentals, and all I need to say is good luck with your studies and bye for now.